Domgats. Domgats. We just finished binge watching The Tiger King. Did Carol feed her husband to the kitties? Did she? What are you gonna do? Are you happy, Mr. Toms? Are you? What are we gonna do today? It's so cold outside. It is. You want some chin scritches? Oh, yes, you do. Well, good day, everybody. In the last video, I finished off powder coating all those pieces, and now I need to assemble some of it back in the housing. I need to start grinding off that so I can put that into place. I also have to remove the center console so I can run the cable. We're gonna be pretty busy. Not a lot of filming, but a lot of screwing around trying to get this all to work. The powder coating on the screws actually came out all right. I don't know if it'll stay like that or if it'll corrode underneath, so to speak. So I grinded the rivets out. Might have to grind a little bit more, but I don't film any of the grinding. Well, that one's gonna come. Just because I've ruined so many lenses on cameras by doing that, and this side here should pop out too. I know it wants to. There we go, and that just comes right out. I may have to get rid of this piece. I just want to see. So on second thought, the shifter's not gonna work out. Without major modifications, I'm gonna have to cut this plate back and then bend her out so that the shifter's gotta come back a little bit more, and then I think it'll work then. Well, it looks like I still got a little bit of modifications to do, but nothing too serious. I need to figure out how I'm going to somehow kind of bolt down that shifter to take the stress off of just having it bolted to the plastic, because there is, like I said, a couple bolts holding that on. And if you start hammering on that shifter pretty hard, well, you're going to rip the bolts out. So I need to figure out something with that. So on the floor right there is the center console. Pulled that out so I can put the shifter in now. I picked this up like a long time ago. This is the high lift extreme jack. That's just been sitting in the back of my Jeep for years. Surprisingly enough, it hasn't really corroded too much. But maybe I might have to play around with it. Right now, just pissing around with Tinkercad trying to create a vacuum 180. And since we're in lockdown, it's a perfect time to design and create stuff. I'm now on round number 2. This is going to be the LS vacuum adapter, because I wanted a curved one instead of the straight one. We'll see how this one prints out. I'm printing out just a demo one. So this was my practice one. Just a standard print, so it's printed rough. I think I'm ready to load the ABS because I made some adjustments to the original file, and I'll see what's going to happen. I want you to pay close attention to this moron across the way. I'm already stopped. The vehicle on the left is going, and now the vehicle on the right's going to go. So now it's my turn. Idiot across the way has a signal light turning right, and he goes. Look at that. Fucking idiot. If I had my truck, I would have just smashed him. Domgats. And do you remember the simpler days when we weren't confined to the house? And do you? Do you, Mr. Toms? All right, well, I've been busy learning how to 3D print here. And I got this piece from Novak Conversion. That's for the vacuum line. I wasn't overly impressed with it. I wanted something that was a little bit more curved. So I 3D printed this green one and this yellow one. But 3D printing always doesn't go as planned. Like, here's one of the first ones I printed, and when I made the design, I didn't put the cone, so to speak, wasn't connected properly, so didn't 3D print properly. And then this one here, I ran out of filament at the end, and then I tried printing with ABS, and the ABS was a complete failure. But since I need to run that cable through the floor, I printed this bulkhead that'll go through the floor. So you can see right there how that's going to work. I need to figure out where all this is going to go now. So I'm not going to waste any time filming this. I just need to get this done. Trying to fit the shifter up. I ended up removing this whole plate, cut out the section, because I just could not get my shifter to sit in there properly. So now I'm going to build a little tiny box and then weld it in there, and then that'll be at the end of that story. So there it is, created a little box. So now the shifter can fit in there without any issues. Sometimes you just gotta go down the rabbit hole. Instead of wasting your time trying to modify something, sometimes it's better just to fucking gut it all, start from scratch, and continue on. Now there's still another issue. What the heck is blowing in the way? It's like this little fine hair or something. I need to figure out where the cable's gonna go now, because with the second part of that console, I gotta be careful where I drill my holes, because the bottom of that center console piece is probably gonna get in the way, and fuck. This is, you don't want to fuck it up, because the drive shaft is gonna be right there, so I gotta be careful where I put it, because I don't want it interfering in a way that's gonna be possible that it might catch on the drive shaft or rub, so gonna have to deal with that. So you can see right there at the modifications I made, it's back in place. I don't need this, but I just left it intact, and this allows me for my shifter to sit in there. Well, it doesn't seem to matter which end is which, but it's always good to put these together with some anti-seize. Since this is completely adjustable, I'm just putting it right in the middle. Tighten down that jam nut. So just test fitting it up, I gotta see where my cable is gonna run through, and I got my bulkhead. So what I'm gonna do is drill a 5/8 test hole, and then from that test hole I can feed the wire down through, or the shifting cable down through, and see where that's gonna end up. So of course things never work out the way they should. 3D printed that for nothing, drilled a hole, because in the end I needed to come more straight down. So there we are, the shifter's in. If you're looking down here, the way this clamp bolts onto the cable, I actually got nutserts in the frame, and you can see the bolts just go down into the nutserts there. And that kind of makes this piece a little bit rigid. It's got some tension on there. That way I can shift, and I'm not going to pull on the little bolt right there. It's plastic, and then the other piece right there. So I should be good. So looking at the bottom of the oil pan, you know it's going to line up right there. which is right close to the shifter. So I got that piece bolted up, but I'm not too happy with it because as you can see, there should be at least 2 threads sticking out, but that's not the case. So now that's bolted on. Gotta do this piece, but as you can see right there, a cable is gonna be pretty close, right? So I need to tie this back somewhere. I don't know how I'm gonna do it where it's not gonna be like in the way, so to speak. I need to figure that out. So moving forward, what I had to do is get this cable away from the drive shaft. So I bent this bracket, move it away. Now of course I'm also going to have an issue here, but when the time comes, I'll have to get another one and then slide this over as well. And then that should take care of that. This, however, is going to be pretty close to the drive shaft when it's done. I'm not sure what I think about that. I might actually remake that piece to a straight one if it comes to that. That way it'll suck it in more, but I'll have to burn that bridge when the time comes. So I just made a quick change here. I flipped this to the inside so it's more straight. So the shifter's finally done. I'm going to hook up the vacuum line now for the brake booster. And I know I said that I was going to bleed the brakes and do the drive shaft, but not quite yet. I want to do some testing, but I want to get the rest of the vacuum lines hooked up. Make sure that 3D part I print it doesn't cause a vacuum leak. Make sure the tolerances are good. And then I want to grab my Atoll scanner and want to make sure everything's working as it should, doing some testing before I go ahead and move the rear drive shaft on. And all that being said, I hope everybody's being safe, and hopefully by the time that this video was uploaded, that maybe we have reached the peak of the coronavirus and life may be going back to normal. Who fucking knows? But if you're watching this video and you're local, I'm still looking for a job. So if you know anybody that's hiring, it's best to network with people that you know in order to find work, especially in these times when there's a lot of people out of work. So if you know anything, hit me up. Anyways, let's go get started and finish this off. Now to pull this lid off, hopefully one last time. Come on, there we go. So there's no real better spot, but I just pulled the piece out. So mine has been machined roughly to about the same size. So let's see if I can get behind all this mess. That's it. So this vacuum line is 11/30 seconds. And then I'm gonna put some lube on there. We do know that lubing up the hole will get you better results. Take this out because it'll be easier to push that in while it's out, and then there, it's in. Now that I got my toolbox at home, I have a hose cutter, which makes things way easier than trying to use a razor blade. So right about there, cut the hose, push that onto this, toss this cover, there we go, hand tighten it down. All right, shut her down, there we go. There's the 90, It's 3D printed out of PLA. I couldn't get it to work off ABS. It just would not print. I got a spare as backup. I'm going to throw in the Jeep just in case I'm out somewhere and by chance it happens to snap off. And hopefully it doesn't snap off flush with that connector because that would really suck. Now it's the moment of truth. It's time to fire it up and see if there's going to be any kind of vacuum leak going on around that. That'll show up on my air fuel ratio gauges and also on the scanner I'm going to hook up, and we're going to see if I'm going to have any issues, and also do some testing on the transmission shifter. Going to slap it in neutral and start it up, and then be able to see if everything's going to work as it should. Plug in my OBD reader, my scanner here, that's set up. So now, open up the door past the exhaust. First thing I want to do is just, I guess, put that back in two-wheel drive, start it up. Let her idle. While everything's doing its thing, I should have brakes. So my short-term fuel trims are right about where they're supposed to be, close to zero as possible. I am in open loop still. Hasn't gone into closed loop yet. By the looks of it. The fuel trims, I don't know if you can see them, are about roughly 14. Now I just went into closed loop. So this is what I want to show you. Torque converter brake switch. I'm going to push on the brake. You're going to see it. Go to open, closed. Open, closed. That's very important to know how that works. So this tells me commanded gear, engine speed. So if I drop this in fourth, transmission starts turning. You can see the gear. I'm reading speed there, so theoretically if I hit the gas, now this will give you more of an accurate response. Now is you can see the shifting. I'll point this out again in case anybody's ever interested in doing an LS swap. This is probably the most important thing that'll save your transmission from burning up, especially if you're using a 4L60, is your torque converter brake switch has to be closed at all times, except when you depress the brake. When you press the brake, it goes to open. That's very important. I'm pretty sure a lot of people wire that in backwards and then burn their tranny up. All that being said, I think it's motherfucking beer time. What do I feel like? Let's dig into the back here, grab something right here. That looks pretty deadly. So this is an IPA, 7.2%. That'll fuck you right up. Definitely. All right, it's motherfucking beer time. Pretty sure this is one that Fedor had got for me, so let's crack this open. Oh. For an IPA, that is good. I like that. That's a solid beer right there. Fucking right, shut her down. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I spent way too much time scooting around than I would have liked to. It's time to get down to work now and start plugging away and getting stuff all done, tidied up, rearranged, set up, because the next few weeks, hopefully all the snow will melt in the alley and I could get out, start doing some testing of driving the vehicle, seeing how it's going to handle. all that kind of stuff, taking a little short trips at first and see what's going to happen. I know hopefully I crossed all my T's, dotted my I's, and try to be proactive from the start, and hopefully I won't run into too many more issues. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Motherfucking beer time!